Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This was not supposed to be a cooking video, so it's not going to be like explaining what I'm eating. I'm just actually making this video while I'm eating because I had earlier today I did a video with a friend for their channel, and that one will be out in a couple weeks. So watch for that. And we were only going to be together for like 30 minutes to an hour, and I think we could have talked all day. It seemed like we had a great conversation. And so now and then I had to run to the store. It's Friday, or it's Friday when I'm filming this, so I didn't have anything going on. So now I'm just trying to cook something real quick and eat it. But there was some stuff I kind of wanted to talk about that I've seen kind of going on, and then some of you have also asked me to kind of talk about some other stuff. So one of the big questions that I actually got from one of my subscribers was just to kind of talk about my military background a little bit more, so we can kind of go in and dive deeper into who I am. So I graduated from Central Michigan in 2009, like in the heart of the recession. So, I graduated in May. Come October, I didn't have anything, and I had always sought out a possible career in the military. And I had a friend come to me and say, "Well, why don't you just go do OCS, which is Officer Candidate School, for those of you who don't know." Because I already had my degree, I could go in and be an officer at that point. And so I did. I left on April 21st, 2010, for basic training, because that's the one route that you, if you're going to be an officer, that you actually have to go to basic training. ROTC goes to, they do some similar stuff, I don't know, in the summertime, like when they're in school, and then like the military colleges, that's kind of it's like a OCS plus some, I guess there's some like basic training type stuff that happens like in earlier years or something. I don't know a ton. I just heard some stories, and so that's where my understanding comes from of that. But so after I got done with OCS, I went to Fort Lee, Virginia, the home of the logistics, because I was a quartermaster officer. So I commissioned as a quartermaster officer in December of 2010. At that same time, I actually met my now ex-wife when I was at Fort Benning during that time. I moved to Virginia. Fort Lee it's in Petersburg, so 30 minutes from Richmond. Again, my ex-wife, my wife, she moved up there, into my whole thing there. So while I was up there, did schooling there. I was there for about 6 months, and then I went over to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So, if you know, Fort Campbell is the home of the 101st Airborne Division. I was lucky enough to get assigned to the one of the most historic units in the world early on, the 506th Infantry Regiment. If you know it from the history of it, from Band of Brothers. They were obviously an airborne unit in World War II, and the lineage goes all the way back to that. So you kind of feel a sense of history and pride when you're in the unit. I went to air assault school when I was there, and then I became a forward support company, XO, so a forward support company is attached, essentially. It's a company inside of a infantry battalion. So with the first of the 506, we deployed to Afghanistan in 2013. It was kind of in the time that we were closing down a lot of the stuff while we were there, but I mean, I was out on the road, in charge of making sure that all of our people at the very tip of the spear were taken care of with food, ammo, water, fuel, everything you can think of. We were the sustainers, and that's what we did. When we got back, we closed that brigade down. I moved over to the 182nd Airborne Division, which is also known as the Rakkasans, if you've ever heard. That's what that one is. It's the Tory. I was only there for a year, so didn't do too much when I was there. I was just waiting for a captain's career slot. I did get promoted to captain when I was there, and then I went back to Fort Lee for my captain's course. After captain's course, was there for about 6 months again. That's actually right at the end of that is when me and my ex-wife separated. I moved to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And I was there I was in the 82nd Airborne Division for 2 years. I worked mostly on like a brigade level staff. My brigade commander was the same as my battalion commander when I was in the infantry battalion, so that was pretty good. I loved it. I mean, shortly after I got there, I went to airborne school. So I had 10 jumps out of a high performance aircraft, and then I tore my rotator cuff, and it was just, and I was also tired. I was tired of being gone all the time. Couldn't really, I was not home like at all. So it really made it difficult to have a steady life and so I decided to get out and move to Atlanta, and that's where I'm at now. And as you see, I've transitioned. I've been on HRT for about 13 months now. So that was another factor in getting out of the Army. I never would have, but to this day, I always tell people the Army is full of people who have your back no matter what. My military friends have honestly been some of the most supportive friends. And I know some very senior leaders in the military, and everybody seems to be very supportive of who I am and how I'm living, and that's a great thing to see and kind of confirm when I got out. 'Cause I didn't tell anybody while I was in. It took me a long time to even come out to anybody. While I was in the Army, like I said, I deployed in Afghanistan. I received a combat action badge, which means you've engaged or received enemy fire. I also earned a Bronze Star. It's not with Valor. It is for kind of the responsibility that I had while I was in Afghanistan, but still very proud of that. And yeah, I would never give up my time in the service for anything. I'm glad I experienced a deployment. I'm glad all that. But now, transition now here at home and everything like that, it's time to bring our troops home, in my opinion. There's no reason that we're still fighting. And now it's just starting to look more like a political, it's looking more and more like our military are starting to become political pawns for both sides of the aisle. Because obviously we've seen with Donald Trump getting out, pulling out of Syria, that the left are just as much warhawks as the right. It's all about positioning, world power, and everything like that. I respected Tulsi a lot for her position, especially as a soldier, and she's echoing what a lot of soldiers I think are feeling right now. When it comes to the wars and stuff, we're tired of deploying. We're tired of being away from our families over and over and over, and you're losing good soldiers because they are deploying over and over and over. But really, I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to say about that. If you guys have any questions about, I mean, I can talk military stuff all day long as well. I can tell stories, everything, but sometimes they're stories that people don't necessarily need to hear, want to hear. I tell them when I'm comfortable. So, you know, I was very, very lucky that it set me up for a great, the military gave me great opportunity to learn leadership. Honestly, it's what kind of got me out of my shell. It made me get in front of my soldiers from very early on, because I hated public speaking. And as I mentioned in my first video, I really wasn't too comfortable. I mean, that scared me even to get in front of a camera that first time. And you just gotta face your fears. I was afraid of heights when I went to airborne school. So, in air assault school. So you gotta face your fears, and that's what it kind of taught me. And to not shy away, go for it. Do what makes you uncomfortable. I also fortunately had great leaders while I was in. You know, amazingly enough, the Secretary of the Army, I believe, is my first division commander. He gave me one of my favorite coins that I have in Afghanistan. My first brigade commander on that deployment is now the sergeant major of the Army. So I had multiple, my first battalion commander in a logistics unit is now the general in charge of the Department of Logistics, DOL. So, I mean, and then the other, like I said, was my brigade commander when I went to the 82nd, and he's still he's an absolute mentor to me. So, I was lucky when I was in. I was absolutely 100% lucky to have the command and everything and I learned so much while I was in. I have friends that are still in now, and I have some friends now that I work with before, we hike and do stuff now, and they're in the National Guard, and they got called up for COVID, and I'm always, younger military officers still reach out, and I absolutely love it. They can reach out and contact me. I'm a wealth of knowledge. I have no problem talking about any of that stuff, especially military stuff. If y'all were wondering what I'm cooking, I put broccoli and cauliflower with some, with barbecue sauce into the air fryer, and then let it cook, and then I just melted some cheese at the end, if you saw me put that in, and then I made eggs with it. Breakfast for dinner, one of my favorite meals to eat. And now I am actually going to put A1 steak sauce on it. Love using A1 on eggs and stuff to kind of give it that extra oomph with everything else at the end. Yeah, running eggs over easy eggs with A1, can't beat it. I love it. But I would, honestly, the only time I use A1 on actual steak is if it's cheap and it's going with steak and eggs, because you don't want to ruin a perfectly good steak. When I get asked at a restaurant, it's funny, they ask me, do you want A1 steak sauce? I'm like, well, what's wrong with the steak? Is it not good? You know, um, I know people have their preferences, but I think it's a little bit rude to ask for steak sauce or ketchup or anything like that at a fancy steak restaurant where the steak is, you know, it's kind of a slap in the face to the chef, in my opinion. So yeah. So that's it. That's it from my military experience and stuff like that. If you guys want to hear me talk even more about it or ask me any questions, I can easily field some of them on later. Maybe do a live stream and stuff like that and talk about it. I kind of do want to talk about some of the trans issues that I've seen coming lately, and it spurred on last night. I was on Twitter and I was talking to a friend of mine on Twitter, and we have a completely opposite viewpoint on this. And what I see a lot with the conservative Twitter or conservative LGBT people is sometimes they don't. It's still conservative versus libertarian, and I come from a libertarian standpoint. So what he was talking about was gatekeeping, and how gatekeeping in trans community is actually a good thing. And again, he's trans, and he was upset that when the one therapist said that they told him that they didn't believe in gatekeeping, that he's trying to get his surgery. Or a surgery, and that baffles me, honestly. But I also come from a background that, I will say, not in the same regard. It's your body, your choice. If you're over the age of 18, you have a choice you can make with your body for anything, and I'm not talking about abortion issues when I say that. I know that's often the phrase that people use for abortion, but that's not what I'm getting to. So, and what I mean by that is, you should absolutely be able to do it. If you're a grown adult, you should be able to do whatever surgeries you want. You should be able to take whatever prescriptions you want. Put in your body and do with your body as you wish. Are we gonna start gatekeeping tattoos because they're permanent? People regret them and have to have them removed. I agree that with kids there has to be a level of gatekeeping. And if you don't know my stance, I believe in the Dutch model for trans kids. I believe in testosterone blockers until the age of 16. And then after 16, they can make the decision, but that decision between their doctor, their parents, and themselves. I don't think that the government should be regulating that decision that can come, that goes through that, right? So, same with, and it's not even just trans issues, and I've also heard, because I've heard some of my other, conservative trans friends say this same kind of thing is when they see activists going, stop the gatekeeping. Why aren't we asking for everything else to stop the gatekeeping? Well, I am. I think just gatekeeping and black markets, heavy regulation sends everything to the black market. You could absolutely find a doctor on the black market they don't have a license, so they're performing black market surgeries. That happens a lot. You see it with people. Sometimes they're botched surgeries were from black market. But then the other thing is, like, why are we gatekeeping people with that just have breast augmentation? Or it's the same thing. It's just on trans people and cis people. But even with drugs, I don't let me take what's what I think is appropriate, because I want my doctor to be an advisor, and if you gatekeep on medication, they are no longer an advisor. They have to go by the protocol. They are your controller. And what happens when they deny you, again, it goes to the black market. You can go, there are Reddit groups. It's male to female, MTF, DIY, HRT, I think is one of them on Reddit. Literally, you can go on there, get the drugs, and take them without seeing any doctor. That's worse to me though. I think your doctor gives you a recommendation, but they're not there to deny you service for any, not just for trans related stuff, for anything. For example, pain medication, opioids. Yes, they're addictive. We know this, right? And people who don't trust other people to make the right decisions want to control them. They say, pain medications are addictive. You're addicted. We need to stop you. Well, you know what happened when we stopped giving people pain medications? They go to the black market. And what's the biggest issue we have right now in the black market? Heroin. Because, and it stems from all the regulation on it. And then because the heroin's such a black market drug, people, I mean, it's in the black market, so it's not regulated, so it gets cut with all different stuff. And now, the fentanyl epidemic it's absolutely growing, and it's sad to see. And so really, I'm not calling to say, we should just, mind our business when it comes to trans people. I'm saying we should a doctor should not be allowed to tell you yes or no when it comes to taking a drug. They shouldn't be able to control you for that. And I know this is just crazy libertarian thought, I guess, but I just believe it's your body, your choice. Do what you want with it. It's not my life. It's your life. If you get addicted to it, that's on you. You seek help for that. Putting blind faith in people. Doctors are nothing but people. I think we need to have, again, I'm on informed consent, so I can go in and my doctor tells me all the stuff, but I also do my own research. And that's the other thing that they were kind of hinting at, is that the doctor should just know everything about it. You know how many different diseases there are and how many different prescriptions they have? It would be absolutely impossible to know all the side effects of every single drug out there. And really, that's also kind of a pharmacist's position as too. Pharmacists know just about the drugs as everybody else. So if you're questioning, ask your pharmacist for a consultation. That's why they are there. The pharmacist can do a consultation and explain to you the side effects and everything like that. And if you are over the age of 18, you can do what you want with that information. It doesn't really affect me. It doesn't affect anybody else. Just do what you want. It's your body. Gatekeeping in any sense of the word is wrong, and it absolutely creates issues. And it's always interesting to hear conservatives say gatekeep on that, and then liberals talking about gatekeeping on speech and everything like that. So gatekeeping is not good on one side or the other. It's just not. That we have freedom in this country to do with your body as you wish. It's not my problem. It's kind of, I think I talked about it even with the COVID-19 stuff, because it's not my problem. Like, if I go out, I've been fighting with my association about the pool. There's a few of us that want the pool open. There's a few that don't. But my whole thing is put signs up, make it adults only, whatever it is. But it's my choice. If I want to take that risk, I should be able to take that risk. I mean, I'm not going to, and I've been told it's more about liability, which is complete nonsense, and we should be able to like sign a waiver or something like that we will not sue because you don't want to, but then it's like kind of like suing yourself. So but in COVID-19, if I want to do something, you can go ahead and quarantine. That's fine. Which is kind of what we're talking about in like Georgia and the states that are actually starting to open up. You, as a business owner, don't have to open up. You don't have to go to work. Like, don't sit back and complain. Like, tell everybody else how to live their lives. If you want to be a complete hermit, absolutely go do that. I don't care. You have responsibility for yourself and for your protection, so you can make that choice to go out or stay in. I'm going to go to the pool. If you're in a risk category, don't go. And stay away from me. It's like stay 6 feet away. I'm not going to come by you and be like, oh yeah. No, I'm not doing that. I'm just, people that I know, like, we'll get together, but if you're staying, stay inside. That's 100% not worried about it. The which again, that's the same thing. You are responsible for you. That's why I advocate for all women to carry firearms, because you are responsible for your safety. Trans, gay, lesbian, like the LGBT, carry firearms. You're responsible for your safety. And like the Pink Pistols motto, armed gays don't get bashed. I think those are rules to live by. If you're worried about, a trans person assaulting a woman in the bathroom, give your child mace. Seriously, like give them, like, teach them to fight. Teach them to get away, because more often than not, it's not going to be a trans person that does something. It's going to be, a friend or something like that, right? I mean, all sexual assault, most of it comes from people that you know, and you've already been hanging out and stuff like that. So teach them to fight back. I absolutely 100% believe that. I mean, because I can't be there to protect everybody. The cops aren't there to protect you. They're only there to clean up the mess. And so I'm not putting this on victims, because we absolutely have a responsibility to help victims who are, help victims of, sexual assault and everything like that. But it's kind of like having a fire alarm, right? You don't have a fire alarm. You only have a fire alarm or a fire extinguisher, because when you don't have it, that's when you need it, right? And so you don't have it because you plan to use. You don't have a firearm because you plan to use it. You have a firearm if you need to use it and be trained on. I know I kind of ranted on that one a little bit too. Absolutely, come back. Subscribe to the channel. Watch out for the video that I just did with my friend. Subscribe to my channel. You can also subscribe to my other YouTube channel, which it's not monetized. I'm not even monetized here yet, but it's just a DJ channel, so it's got, I can't get monetized at all. And then subscribe to my DJ Facebook page, subscribe to my Instagram, subscribe to my Twitter. All the links are going to be below, like always. Just Follow me everywhere. You know, order some stuff. We got some new stuff out from Stubins.com. We're starting to do, since it's May, we're doing, veteran charities. So a lot of our stuff's going to veteran charities this month. And we're also switching over our Pride line. So you can order them for next month, and everything's kind of going to, and actually it's probably going to go to the Atlanta Pink Pistols to help fund their booth for Pride this year, since ours is in October. I assume we're going to be having it this year, so we should be. What else? Yeah, that's it. So thanks for joining, and have a great weekend. Until next time, continue to tune in. Thank you.